Hi there, I'm Sue Johnson from the Wake Up and Lives Actors Studio. I'm the executive director, and we are so excited to have very special guests today. Two of my colleagues and fellow actors and folks I have worked with in the past. They are here today to talk about an exciting new phenomenon that is hitting the streets of Cleveland, our own Broadway version of new female-oriented live theater. And what do I mean by that? I mean Bernadette Clemens to my right. She is one of the founders and co-artistic directors. Christine McBurney, she too is one of the co-founders. And your exact title is, are you another co-artistic director? So welcome. And first thing, just in case there's anybody on the planet, what does an artistic director do?
A lot.
Yes.
I think the primary role of the artistic directors, or in our case, a partnership of two people, is to choose the season.
Okay.
To choose what the company produces and what plays. And next, we have to choose the people. We have to hire the directors.
So you're the producers as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So we primarily spend a lot of energy deciding what material to do.
Okay.
And then what we want to direct, what directors we may want to engage now or in future to direct the projects we're not directing. We choose the design staff as well, so that blends into the producing role. But I think more importantly, we sort of define the mission of the company going forward. The co-founders created the mission, really, but it's our job as co-artistic directors to follow that vision.
Okay.
And to lead the community and the internal staff towards its fulfillment. And
now,
we've been having fun.
Does this mean that you also are performing the executive director type duties, all the administrative stuff, all the grant writing? So you're wearing the whole hat.
We have shared a fraction of the executive roles and the administrative roles. I'm wearing the administrator hat this year, so that's a separate line item to my title, and it's a separate function I perform away from the artistic directorship. But I would say when it comes to certain things like grant opportunities, that Christine wears an administrative hat too. But I'm technically by title our administrator this year in addition, which has been something I've been happy to do, and it's been fun, but we've carved that out as a separate role. So I don't think our co-artistic-ship really spends a lot of energy administrating. That's something I do on the sides, and we carved out a little space and time for me to do it.
A little space and time.
A lot. Well,
yeah,
it was a little
And the reason I ask is because you are a fairly new startup theater on the Cleveland scene, and typically you're wearing multiple hats to make it happen.
Right.
And in this case, we are making Mamai Theatre happen. Where in the world, Christine, did the name of the theater come from?
Well, that's a great question, and it is hard to say, and I want to compliment you on getting it right.
This time, because you coached me.
Well, the four of us, the co-founders, Bernadette, myself,
and would you name them all?
I'm just about to, Wendy, Chris, and Deirdre Ring. We're all mothers, and this is the Gaelic word for mother.
Okay.
And we're all working mothers, and we're all theater actresses and theater artists, and it just seemed like a really good name.
Okay, that fit the group. Yeah.
The group, yeah.
Well, how did you decide, whichever one of you, how did you decide to make this, which is close to my heart because I struggle with this from our little actor studio, but how did you decide to make this a female-oriented theater?
Bernadette has a great answer. I just want to say we didn't make that decision. It was kind of like made for us, but
yeah, a variety of things happened. I'm going to blame the economic downturn of 2008 to 2009 as the first influence, because what happened was a lot of the standard workplaces where some of us involved in the co-founding team would get our regular paychecks had an incredible challenge, and they reduced their seasons from what once had been 6 or 8 productions down to 4.
Right.
And they barely eked out the next 2 seasons. And when they did that, they also shifted some programming choices. A lot of them that used to do half plays, half musicals, more or less, eradicated their play season and went to all musicals, or They chose some safer plays.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, prior to that economic downturn, I would go on about 3 to 5 auditions for, I'm an equity actor.
Sure,
For an equity
most
contract.
Most of your team is.
Yes, some of us are, some of us aren't.
Uh-huh.
Actually, some of us were at one point,
Okay.
and aren't now, but
Okay.
we've had a lot of union membership among us, and I used to go on about 3 to 5 auditions in the Northeast Ohio area for an equity contract a month prior to that economic downturn. In the first few years after that, I went on 3 to 5 a year.
Okay.
And my ability to find work opportunities was just incredibly cramped. And I was so frustrated because I was at a time in my career, as were many of us, where there were a ton of roles and a ton of plays being done somewhere, but not in Cleveland, that we could do.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at more audition opportunities outside of town, and it was just so frustrating. So we decided that it was time to ensure that the plays we wanted to do and the proportion of roles available for women who are
Amen.
professionals.
Let's take a moment
town.
and give homage to
Yes.
roles for women.
Yes.
We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute.
That's part of why we developed an idea that there needed to be a company that was ensuring that there were jobs available. It's just a jobs issue.
Mhm. Oh,
you know?
yes,
It
yes.
just, there needs to be work available.
And for example, in my case, which isn't, spectacular, once I became AEA, as the expression goes, I haven't worked since, so to speak. But then, that brings in other issues, the type of plays that are selected and whether or not there's a character role that, you might go out for. There's so many variables that when I saw, that was one of my attractions, besides the fact who founded it, was you were focusing on women-oriented things, because I have trouble even with, not trouble, but trouble, with my actor studio folks when they write plays, because we showcase our original, playwrights, original playwrights, that's part of our purpose. And I can't get them to write significant roles for women to the degree that I would like. This male-dominated industry, gets on my last nerve. So that's why I fully appreciate that you're doing everything that you can to generate more work options available for women. Now, the next question is, why classical? How did it come to be that you decided that was going to be your niche for now, or genre, whether that's going to be your permanent thing, or is that where you want to get established? So how did that come about?
I think we missed seeing the plays that we studied in college. No one in town was producing classical theater.
Right.
And we wanted to know, where is Miss Julie? Where is Chekhov?
Mm-hmm.
Where is George Bernard Shaw? Where
yes.
are these classical plays being done?
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't see them. And we love the classics.
And the world has gotten away, because I'm an old English fellow high school teachers, and the kids, the young people today, you ask them about Shakespeare, or you haven't even read To Kill a Mockingbird, and I'm trying, how do you go to high school and you don't know these classics? How do you not? Never mind, I get easily frustrated with the state of the literature and the arts.
Well, we had an additional inspiration for that. That's the bulk of our training,
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't able to practice it in the Cleveland workplace.
Right.
There's one classical company in town before our founding, and that in Great Lakes Theater, and
Yes.
they have also adjusted their mission in recent years, so they have reduced that word classical, Cleveland's classical, to Cleveland's classic theater.
Mm-hmm.
So they too have sort of gone a little bit wider than just classical theater lately, and that was the only place in town to audition for classical work.
Exactly.
Cleveland Shakespeare Festival has been a fun place to work, and they've done well.
That's Larry's group, Larry Nearing's.
No longer.
Tyson
Yeah.
Rand
Who's
is the
the-
artistic director now, Tyson Rand.
Oh, I don't
The
know
current
him.
artistic
Oh,
director.
okay.
Lovely man.
Yeah, and then of course Cleveland Shakespeare still only produces once a year, the summer, right? Yes.
And
okay.
just Shakespeare, but so many of us, all 4 of us, have trained afar
Yes.
in classical theater, and we've been in Paris, we've been in London, we've been in Ireland. We spent a lot of years cutting our teeth with theater companies over across the Atlantic and in New York. And both Christine and I came out of a heavy classical background at Columbia University in
Oh,
New York.
wow, yes.
I was trained at a program in London and Oxford that had faculty from the Royal Shakespeare Company. Wendy trained in Paris and Montreal and elsewhere. Deirdre came out of the Gaiety School in Dublin and has worked at the Abbey Theatre and elsewhere. So we had all of this sort of international classical heavyweight training
experience and training.
I'm still afraid to mention some of the people that I had worked with outside of Cleveland, because Cleveland has such a fantastic hometown energy that it's very hard to bring outside experience into the small, closely knit Cleveland theater community. So it's hard, I think, for newcomers, and it shouldn't be.
Right.
Newcomers should be embraced, and that's one of the things I think we've done well. We hear from our people this year that we've done really well opening doors in Cleveland instead of closing them and working with only the people that we've worked with before. Because we've worked with a lot of people around the world and around the country between the four of us, and it was time to sort of put that out on the table. So that's why we needed a classical company. These are the plays we want to do. And we weren't sure that other people agreed with us until this season, and guess what? We found out that they do. There's people who have said to us, you have filled the gap, and our box office returns in our first week, going into our second week, have sort of, and the Plain Dealer endorsement
really
has
said
there was an enormous gap, and thank you for filling it. So.
That is so marvelous. I was reading Bob Abelman's review too about, just the creative artistry, bringing something new and fresh and dangerous, if you will, because you're not fitting a mainstream. So Cleveland's a pretty artsy town, and we look for things that aren't all musicals, that aren't always cast by the exact same people, because theaters do get cliquey, and sometimes you just can't break through into their repertoire, their stable of actors, they're go-to actors. So I know that's the way it is, but
now watch out though, because a couple of the plays on our short list for the next few seasons are classical plays that do have singing in them. So, there may actually be a musical classical piece that you'll see us do at some point. Maybe not next season, but we're not afraid to go in any
different.
Direction.
Yeah. You're not afraid to be, but see, here's the other thing, because the economics we're all dealing with is not remember because you know this, but for the audience, this thing about going with musicals more than, because I'm a dramatic actor, I couldn't sing my way out of anybody's paper bag, so to speak. Is this thing about it's like football. It generates the money. Musicals generate the money. So it's more I have to phrase that carefully, because I don't mean to be negative about it, but it's more of a guaranteed income generator. Whereas this is art. This is good old-fashioned theater, and I love every moment of it. How in the world did you decide to launch your season with Medea? And then we also need a little background as to what this Medea is all about.
Sure. Medea has been haunting me for 4 or 5 years because of our society and the kinds of violence that I would just become acclimated to on a daily basis when I turn on CNN. And the domestic situation of how we care for our children and how we care for our mentally ill. Newtown is a great example of that in recent months.
And there seem to be more killings ever since Newtown.
Right, the focus, they just sort of apparent everyday acceptance of an unhealthy American home life, and the fact that people are dying because of it seems to cohere with Euripides' tragedy, Medea. And we did a good job of talking around town to various potential partnerships, and eventually we ended up going out on our own and making it our inaugural production. But I mentioned to one of our co-founders, Deirdre Rang, that I really wanted to do Medea, and she said, "Have you ever seen Brendan Kennelly's translation of it?" And I said no. And she said, "I'm listening to the way that you would want to do Medea and why you want to do it, and I think you need to read Brendan Kennelly's translation because you're going to love it." And I got my hands on it I had met him years ago in a bar in Dublin, a friend of mine. Who,
the old Dublin bar.
Yes, a friend of mine in Dublin who grew up in Cleveland has ties at Trinity and runs into Brendan Kennelly on the street here and there. And I had met him in passing. Deirdre Ring had met him on another occasion over the years on a separate occasion. So I read the translation that Deirdre recommended, and I knew in an instant that was the script. And we had that was the end of the questioning. We had no questions about producing a Greek tragedy. Nobody does it, and that's, when you train young actors to go off and audition for BFA programs and they have to bring their classical and contemporary piece, your classical piece, you have only a few options. You have Shakespeare, you have the ancient Greek and Roman drama comedies, and then you have anything post-Renaissance Restoration.
Yes.
Up to maybe Chekhov of the 19th century. So the Greeks need to be done, and there's been some great productions of Medea in New York and London over the last decade. When I was in New York, Diana Rigg did it.
I saw that one too.
Fiona Shaw just did it not long ago. But nobody, and here's a great example of filling the gap. One of our designers on our team this year contacted us. Right about the time we were trying to contact designers, we received a note from somebody, and they said, I want to design for you. And we said, that's wonderful to hear. And he said, nobody else would do Medea here.
Okay. But you guys.
But you would do it, and I want to be a part of it. So.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit, a little teaser without giving the whole story away about this delightful young woman, mother named Medea, and where can folks see this play, which has opened now, but it is running. I got contradictory information. First it said June 30th, and then there was another date printed.
It closes June 30th. So Medea, which is running now, runs through June 30th.
Okay.
Thursdays through Sundays. Mamai Theatre Company is in residence this summer at Ensemble Theatre in Cleveland Heights. And you can go to our website for information and tickets and performances. And that website is www.mamaitheatreco.org.
Okay, and that's MAMAI, and we'll have that up, on the screens. That's not a problem. Oh, and so we need to be clear because ensemble can be a little confusing in terms of location, and so anyway, for the Ensemble Theater and the Medea production by the Mamai Theatre is in a building now called Coventry Arts Building, and it is situated right off of Euclid Heights Boulevard and Coventry and Washington Boulevard. So it's an old elementary school, and it's right kind of behind where the Cleveland Heights Library is. So that's where most of the parking is, the public parking spaces. And it is a little tricky if you're not familiar with the Coventry, Euclid Heights, Washington Boulevard area, and Ensemble Theater and the Mamai. I did it. Mamai Theater are located in that facility. The Ensemble Theater number itself, I believe you can call there for general information. Can they call?
Not for our company.
Not at all?
You need to call our theater company with questions or information or help, and you can call 216-570-3403.
Okay, sounds good. And repeat that for everybody.
That's 216-570-3403 or www.mamaitheatreco.org. And you had a question about Medea, which I can answer briefly because I want you to hear about our production that opens July 18th.
Boston Marriage. Yes, we'll get to that.
Yes. Okay. Medea is one of the most famous Greek tragedies about a mother who murders her own two children in revenge against their father. It's an iconic revenge story. It's perhaps the most iconic story of enraged revenge that we have in Western culture. And in this production, we take that ancient tragedy, beautifully translated by Brendan Kennelly, and we situate it in a modern, very upper-class suburban community.
I was going to ask you about the current setting.
It's set here and now. Not necessarily here, but the envision is very West Coast, sort of a beachside suburban community. and the Greek chorus is conjured in very contemporary terms. So in the chorus, rather than 5 women in togas who are constantly on stage just sort of posing for Medea and dialoguing with her as a unit, you have very individualized contemporary characters in the chorus. So there is a TV newscaster, a Starbucks barista, an attorney for Medea, and a neighbor, a neighbor who drinks a little bit too much.
Oh, just a bit of the tipple, you say.
Yes, a very nosy neighbor. And that's the chorus, and Jason has an attorney too who doubles in the script as a messenger. That really is Jason's attorney. And the scenes move from this gated community where Medea and formerly Jason live into the Starbucks, the local Starbucks, sort of a celebrity Starbucks, in a very, very upscale California community. And then the third location is Medea's attorney's office, where a very climactic scene takes place the first time you see Medea and Jason meet one another. And it's a horrific tragedy, but the production, I think, is very well-rounded, and we have a stunning, stunning company of actors rounding out the whole cast.
And your company is going to, will this be kind of repertory because several of the same actors will be in Boston Marriage, or are they totally new cast?
A brand new cast.
Wow.
3 women.
Okay.
Which is unheard of, and it's written by David Mamet.
Lord.
Which sometimes gets that response.
Yeah.
But it's actually written in the style of Oscar Wilde. It's a very witty, very funny, late Victorian drawing room. But if you listen and you watch, they really are still Mamet's bad boys in corsets.
Okay.
That's what I'm kind of calling them. They're scheming, they're women of fashion, so they're not the idealized Victorian woman at the piano with the children
with the starch collars and stuff. Yeah.
They're on the town, they're political, they're activists, they're social, they're sexual, they're raunchy, they're funny, they're witty, they're wicked. They're wicked. They are wicked. It's a contemporary play, but it's set in a classical period, so we have that little bit of wiggle room with classical to play with. And it's going to be delightful. It's got 3, like I said, just 3 women in it.
Okay, who do you have? I
can tell you. Yes, we just started rehearsal.
Okay.
Shauna Beth McGee, who hasn't been on stage in a very long time, but Cleveland audiences will remember her. And Kaki Hernan, who is a Great Lakes actor-teacher, trained at NYU, local girl. And Kathleen O'Malley, who's a newcomer, but is doing theater all over town this summer, and they're delightful.
They're all new to me, as a matter of fact.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's good, yeah.
So when will the run of that production be?
We open July 18th, and we run through August 4th, Thursdays through Sundays.
Oh, that's where that August 4th came in. I saw that. Okay. Yeah, and then you've lined up your 2013 to 14 season so far, or is that still on the drawing board?
It's well fleshed out on the drawing board. We haven't released it, and we haven't made our final decisions, but we have a beautiful short list, and we're excited. We think that our short list may become our next 2 seasons. So we have some collaborations in the works. And we're thrilled. We're definitely not in a place where we can announce it yet. But our conversation actually has moved quite far along. So we hope to announce it very soon.
Okay. Now, is it your intention to do 4, 6, 8 play season? What's your intention?
I'd like to go 4.
4
We'd like to try, I think, 4 for next year.
That's ambitious. Love it.
100% increase from this year. So,
okay. Now let me ask you one of these types of questions. Your company is founded primarily by the good old Irish type beauties of the world. Now, will some of your plays allow folks of other ethnic and cultural and racial diversities to audition when the time comes, with the type of either doing non-traditional casting with the traditional plays, or selecting plays that open up to folks of different, whatever it may be?
Yeah, we were open this year, and in our callbacks we had diverse company of people come back, and I mean that's not an issue at all.
Okay.
It just turned out that
I know, but that's I think from my perspective in Wake Up and Live's Actor Studio and the teaching and coaching about it, because we try to help people find out where to go for audition experience and to actually get cast. And here again, theaters create their own niches in terms of, which is fine, that's not a problem,
Sure.
in terms of the types of plays, the types of actors, whatever it may be,
We actually don't have an Irish niche. We are
I don't
not.
mean to imply that.
No, but
Yeah.
it's an important. I do want to speak to it actually
Yeah.
because some people early on in this past season have asked us, or referred to us as the Irish Theatre Company. We're actually not. We're not all Irish. Deirdre Ring is from Ireland originally.
No kidding.
Christine is not all Irish.
But it's Scottish.
I'm English, Irish, German, French, and Swiss. I'm a Western European mutt. Wendy's not Irish at all. And we don't have an Irish mission at all. The name is Gaelic, and it came out of our conversation as working mothers who, frankly, creatively felt like we were giving birth to a new company.
Sure.
That we birthed this company out of a very specific experience, and with great care and an extraordinary commitment. And that's why we named it that. But we have nothing in our mission about producing Irish playwrights. There are a couple of Irish playwrights that were among our conversations in recent months, and you don't be surprised if over time you see us do a Saying or a Yeats play, but it's not part of our mission. And also, when I was casting Medea, for example, I had 4 of Northeast Ohio's most powerful actresses in the callbacks.
Come back, yeah.
And 2 of them were African American women.
Cool, yeah.
And 2 of them were white women. And the 4 of them were incredibly supportive of each other. And they had so much fun, and we had such long conversations in the casting process. Each of them would have been an extraordinary Medea. Our Medea, whose name I also want to mention, Tracy Patterson.
Oh, God, Tracy.
Has been...
Yeah, give her a hug. I haven't seen her in forever.
I will. I'll give her a hug tomorrow when we go up again. She is fantastic.
That's all you can say.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
There are no words. You have to see. There are no words.
Well, the stellar cast, a stellar theater. I mean, I am so excited and honored on behalf of the Actors Studio that you've been able to join us so that we can get more word up and out there. The Plain Dealer isn't the only place to get promotion.
That's right.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm so happy that we've been able to share a few moments with you and help the world know more about what Cleveland's new theater is doing. And my mission, my goal, among other things, is to live long enough to see Cleveland be a destination for theater and film, as opposed to being a flyover for theater and film. And you guys are adding to that whole concept of actors being able to get work locally. I am so tired. Well, that's the Sue Johnson thing. I am so tired, you've been there, done that, of actors having to leave Cleveland to get work. And I don't know whether you're able to make a living yet, or whether you're still like most of us in the business, still working 15 part-time jobs trying to, fund what we're doing and so forth. I'm down to 3 part-time jobs.
Well, that reminds me, just another piece of our mission and sort of our mantra is not to wait to create. If you're not seeing the work you want to see, if you're not getting the jobs you want to get, just make it happen. Just don't wait to create, just do it.
Yeah, well, that's why we got the Actors Studio too, and what little we contribute. Because this way I don't have to necessarily go out and audition. I can be in charge. So look at you looking at me in that tone of voice.
Yeah, I mean we have transitioned in a variety of ways to full-time theater. I transitioned. I had a long-time development career in Cleveland.
Yes.
And left it in order to pursue theater full-time. So I've been full-time in theater now for almost 3 years.
Wow! That is so encouraging. You see, Bernadette is living testimony that you can actually earn a full-time living creating your own, I hate to say venue, but organization, creating your own work.
But not alone, because to be fair, part of my picture is I serve on an acting faculty through Tom Fulton's invitation at the Academy for the Performing Arts.
I still have not met Tom Fulton.
So that's part of I am on a faculty, and so Tom and other colleagues are wonderful examples of how we all, how there are artists carving out a way to make a full-time living just in theater.
In theater, yes, and in the greater Cleveland area.
Yes, but our vision includes increased employment opportunities for many, not just ourselves.
Right.
Well, that's where we're trying to go to. So we have similar missions, all about. In fact, when I'm going to do a separate commercial when we get through, I hope, and it's helping to keep the arts alive in Cleveland. That's one of our taglines, because that's the way I feel about it. Again, growing up with traditional, classical, the whole range of theater, there's such a wealth available that I would like to see more of it. And like I say, the commercial musical pieces, fine, wonderful, but your doors open more opportunities for more actors and women actors to be recognized. So tell us, as we get ready to wrap for today, tell us again about the production dates, times, phone numbers for Medea first, and then we'll do a Boston Married second.
Sure.
Okay.
Medea is running in residence at Ensemble Theater in Cleveland Heights. You can go to our website, mamaitheatreco.org. It runs through June 30th, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays at 7:30 p.m., Sundays at 2:30 p.m. For more information, you can call 216-570-3403, and that's Euripides Medea, with the translation by Brendan Kennelly.
Okay, wonderful. And Boston Marriage, the contact information coming up?
David Mamet's Boston Marriage runs July 18th through August 4th, also in residence at Ensemble Theater. The same website, mamaitheatreco.org. And Thursdays, did I say that? Thursdays through Sunday, Thursday through Saturday at 7:30, and Sundays at 2:30.
Okay, and then again, from my perspective, one of the things your company does is help open doors for theater folk who want to be actors and they have no idea who David Mamet is. They have no idea who Euripides is. So you are also teaching folks about what the heck Greek theater is. I mean, in this day and age, I've got folks who don't even know anything about Greek mythology. We took it, I'm from an era that you take this for granted and you have a hard time understanding, well, what do you mean you don't know who Jupiter and Zeus and all those folks are? What do you mean you don't know who, what's the famous one about the war? The women go to war.
The Trojan women.
Now, not that one.
Lysistrata.
Lysistrata, one of my favorites.
Aristophanes.
Yeah, Aristophanes, that's one of my favorites.
I was in that. That's a fun play.
Yeah, that is so much fun. So just increasing knowledge, because actors, unlike when we were going through, we went to school to learn. I guess actors, a lot of them, I don't mean to be overgeneralized, but I am. They think you just step on the stage and make it happen. The training aspect, in my opinion, isn't there like it used to be when we came along. That you had to get education, you had to get training, you had to learn, on the stage. So if you were, as we get ready to close, what last bit of insight or advice would you offer to aspiring and experienced actors who want to pursue audition opportunities the traditional way, or become entrepreneurs, because I also address that with our work? Don't just think all auditions are going to be the answer. So what would be something you would recommend or suggest from your perspective, advice for aspiring and experienced actors or production people, what have you?
I think you should read plays and go see them.
That's very basic.
Go see theater. Don't assume you can not be a regular theater goer and learn it. I think you learn about the arts by getting exposed to them.
Yes.
And I think you should be reading plays. And make sure that you are studying somewhere at a program, like the programs where we have taught and where we teach now are programs that have that kind of an academic approach, not just an artistic approach. So I think it's there's an academic side to theater, and you need to be well versed in it before you pick and choose what theater you like best.
Okay. Are you or Tom Fulton or anybody, because we do encourage folks to find great learning opportunities. Are you guys teaching workshops or seminars or anything at all? And who, if so, who would be a contact for somebody to learn about training?
Mamai Theatre Company does not have an education wing yet. I'm
Yet.
sure we will
Yet.
over time.
Yes.
I am sure that we will.
Yeah, you're going to
over time,
have to because of
we have to
yeah.
for grant funding opportunities to maximize that, and we have some strengths there. But we teach at a variety of places, all four of us.
Okay.
We probably couldn't. We don't have time to list all of the places that Wendy and Deirdre and Christine and I teach. But I am on faculty at the Academy for the Performing Arts in Chagrin Falls.
Okay.
And at the Fairmount Theater Academy currently. I've taught at many other programs in the past.
Okay.
I'm at Shaker Heights High School. We have a nationally recognized theater arts
Yes,
program.
you do.
Which we're very blessed to have that. So.
And now, but those are strictly for your enrolled.
That's for the enrolled students.
Do you do anything? I hate to use the word freelance, but outside workshops at all? I mean, as busy as you are.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. But the education part is coming.
Yeah, stand by. There's a cohort of women directors all throughout Northeast Ohio who have gotten together, and we've started to plan, at least for each other and eventually the community, a variety of workshops.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of trading. I mean, we also give workshops for each other sometimes in our projects. So we ended up, in one of our emerging projects, Wendy led weeks of Etienne de Creux movement workshops, and I led some Jacques Lecoq clown workshops in order to feed into some rehearsals for a new work that we produced a couple of years ago. So we will do more outside of places where we are on payroll teaching. But right now we just don't have Mamai Theatre Company workshop opportunities.
Well, that's
but watch out
to
for
come.
that.
You just took one of my words, stand by for new developments.
Yeah. And I would just say too, for people wanting to break into things, audition for everything. Even if you think you're wrong for the role, as many times as you can get yourself in front of a director, you should take that opportunity, because if you're not right for this project, they may think of you for a role down the road, and they've seen you. And plus, the more you audition, the better you audition. So I think that that's really important.
And Bernadette said something very cogent, if you will. When you are on set, in rehearsal, working on a production, your director, your fellow actors teach you, show you, train you, give you on-the-job training. And some of it's academic, some of it's artistic. One of we call her our grande dame of theater, Norma Powell. I mean, she can't get over the fact that there are folks who don't know what down left is, or stage right, and that's beyond me. But she says she's had that experience. Yeah. So when you are cast in a production, you still are learning, and you still are getting the skills, the techniques, the artistry to make your character and the scene and the play.
It's an ancient handmade art that you learn by doing. You can't phone it in or learn it online.
You got it.
You also, I think, the more you work, the more you respect that people work differently. So professionals who are experienced are very respectful of each other, because there's no right way to do it, and that's important to remember, that there's no one place where you need to go and learn everything. And,
I encourage variety. Yes,
and,
indeed.
In any seasoned company, you're going to have people who approach the work in a different personal way, and that is almost the standard, is that there's a unique personal approach to the work, and training can only help you
enhance it, if you will. Yeah. Okay, and on that note, we just want to let you know that we here at the Actors Studio, as they say, the proverbial shameless plug, we do our Master the Arts series of workshops and private coaching on a variety of acting related subjects, if you will. Now, true, we don't do classics as such, but we certainly would introduce you to classics so that you could learn to go out on auditions for the Mamai Theatre and, maybe the Great Lakes Theatre eventually. But this would be a good starting place. But you have to have some professionalism, some experience, and you have to know a little something about what classic theater is all about. So if you'd like to learn more about our Master the Arts workshops, coaching, private training, give us a contact at wakeup4664@aol.com. Certainly you can go to our website, wakeupandlives.org, and you can find out more about some of the training and coaching we do here to make it easier for you to go out and get do good auditions and hopefully get cast in a fine production such as Medea as time goes by, and certainly later Boston Marriage, and be on standby, she says. That's my word, for their upcoming 2013 and 14 season, which I'm guessing will be announced around August, September?
Early fall, I think.
Early fall. That's a good way to put it. So thanks to Lester Bryan, our videographer, who's back with us. And we're closing out this segment, and as we always like to say at the end of a segment, be sure to wake up and live with the arts every day. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
My joy and my pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Feel better.
A message from Sue Johnson, Executive Director, Wake Up and Live's Actors Studio. Dear art supporters, there is no charge to be featured on Wake Up and Live with the Arts, which airs on YouTube, Cox Cable, and Cleveland Cable Access. However, as an artistic community service program, all we ask in return, Wake Up and Live would appreciate and accept any amount tax-deductible donations via MasterCard, Visa, cash, or checks. Donations may also be made via PayPal at www.wakeupandlives.org. Checks should be made out to Wake Up and Live's Actors Studio and mailed to 19333 Van Aken Boulevard, Shaker Heights, Ohio, 44122. Attention, Sue Johnson. If you would like to showcase your talent, special event, community organization, or arts-related business on Wake Up and Live with the Arts, contact Sue Johnson at wakeup4664@aol.com. Remember, donations help us keep the arts alive in Cleveland.